But if Matthew Lillard is not in the sequels, I am going to be so upset.
And Courtney Cox's character playing such a strong female character despite being a dick.
Yeah. Huge dick.
Out for herself.
That when she got punched, I was like, yeah, you deserve that. Yeah, get it. Welcome back to another episode of Reel Chums. We're chatting about movies, feels like hanging out with friends. I'm your host, Marcel, and with me as always is my co-host, Danny.
This week, we finished our month-long watch of scary movies with the 1996 movie Scream. Directed by Wes Craven, written by Kevin Williamson, starring Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, Skeet Ulrich, Matthew Lillard, and many more.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everybody. I hope you guys... I was supposed to bring the costumes. I had one job, Marcel.
No, you have lots of jobs. So don't undersell yourself. Yeah, happy Halloween. We were going to dress up, but you know what? Do you dress up a lot?
Not now I am due. It's been a little bit hit and miss. I haven't done it very often. And then, like, as my kids have gotten older, sometimes they're like, they want me to dress up with them. And my wife wants to really just dress up. And then sometimes she doesn't. This is one of the years that somehow, after watching the Mario movie, Ellie was always like, my youngest was always like, come on, Dad, let's go. Because, like, you know, like Toad. And I was like, oh, here we go. And so we decided that I'd be Mario. I got, like, legit overalls.
Oh, okay.
I got a cheesy little Mario hat. I have a Luigi hat and some gloves. So I might grab a wrench and just walk around.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
And then go from there. So,
nice. Yeah, that's good. I don't really dress up.
Yeah.
Even younger, I forgot to mention this in one of our episodes, but in high school, I dressed up as Shaun from Shaun of the Dead. So I had it was easy, button-up shirt, red tie, and I just put like fake blood all over me.
Yeah.
I didn't have a cricket bat, but
yeah.
But no one knew who I was.
No Americans know even what cricket is. I mean, you could have...
literally, maybe 3 people were like, oh, Shaun from Shaun of the Dead. And I had like the name tag that said Shaun.
Is it because you weren't white enough?
Maybe that's what it was. I don't have that cute ginger hair that Simon Pegg has.
Facts. You look great as a redhead.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, all right.
He doesn't know how to unpack that.
I don't know how to say it.
We'll unpack that later. That's great stuff.
Go ahead.
No, before we jump into the rest of the movie, we wanted to remind you to please subscribe wherever you get our podcasts and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode.
Also, just as a quick reminder, we want to remind everyone that we're going to be taking another break we'll be taking a break in December and returning mid-January. However, we will still be releasing episodes every week, just previous episodes, some of our favorite ones. That way you can revisit those if you're new to the show. These are great episodes to start with. But we'll be back in full force in January.
In addition, we will be launching a Patreon. We are trying to see if we can make it for Black Friday or Cyber Monday, one of those two, for you guys to sign up so you can have access to additional episodes that we'll be producing over the break, as well as to other things that we're going to be doing, which is voting on movies we're going to discuss in the future, next season, movie commentaries, and a lot of other fun things, particularly just getting involved with us and us having a conversation. If you wanted to have people to talk about and you wanted to have a conversation with us, this is the best place to do it. Here
with your Reel Chums. So make sure you're following us on all socials because we'll be sharing out more details there when that goes live, what it all entails, and yeah. So follow us at Reel Chums on Twitter. Where are we? Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Threads, all of them.
All the places. One days, we're probably going to start focusing a little bit more on one of those platforms, but we got other things to do. Look, before we get to the first question of the day, I do want to make a quick statement. Last episode, I realized I was really tired. I was going through a lot last week. Marcel, just so we're not going to get into too much details, Marcel and I are going through a lot of stuff personally that we're trying to manage.
Yeah.
But we love this podcast so much that we do everything we can to get together because it helps us, our mental health.
Yeah, totally.
Legit get through some of those harder days.
I think I saw somewhere on Twitter. It was Twitter, obviously, and it said when guys need therapy, instead of seeking therapy, they do a podcast with a buddy. It's like, oh man, I fall under that category.
But it's true. I think it's a great. There's a lot of that. I went to therapy. You go to therapy.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten any more. Partly because like got to a point where like I felt like my therapist was waiting to see if I was having a good day to ask me questions about the stuff that I do, but not charge me for it. And I was like, wait a second.
Hold on.
He sent me a message. Hey, I had some questions. And I was like, good, great. Sign up. I charge $200 for an hour and we can go through it and we'll get you set up. Crickets. Which is totally fine. I just wanted to make sure that like, yo,
this is what I do. Yeah.
I wanted to set clear boundaries. Things that you learn in therapy.
There you go. Application in practice.
Good stuff. Man, I am excited to talk about Scream today.
So am I. I think this is of our month-long journey of spooky movies. I think this is like more the traditional
scary movie.
Thriller. Yeah.
Yep.
Slasher movie. But
I think it's a great one to go for. A lot of good things to discuss here. But before we do, I want to put you on spot. Do you have a question of the day?
I don't. I should have thought of one.
I want to know how many of your friends growing up dressed up as Ghostface?
I don't think I had any.
What?
Of like my close group of friends? I don't think like, yeah, there were kids that would dress up, but like
no one?
Nah, man.
I think without a doubt, once I turned probably 10, at least somebody might like, let's preface this that my close friend group is a very wide, it's a big circle. Okay. And people are like, well, that can't be a close friend. No, that's just how it is. This is who I am. This is a weird superpower that I have, that I have that thing. But without a doubt, 1 or 2 people were dressing up as Ghostface. And it was even bigger. It was like a huge thing when they did the blood Ghostface.
Oh,
when they had like the pump. That one was aggressively used.
Yeah, no, I don't think I had anyone in my close, and I never dressed up as Ghostface, but yeah, I don't think.
Me either.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. This is another. What's the best? I know you said you don't dress up very often.
Yeah.
Is Shaun of the Dead the best Halloween costume you ever had? What was the best costume you ever did?
That's a good question. My go-to costume was Clark Kent transitioning into Superman. So I had a Superman shirt, button up. I'd curl my hair with the S. So that was like my go-to because it was like, oh, today's Halloween. I better put on something.
Yeah. Okay. It's really easy. You have the Superman shirt.
Yeah.
Throw on a white T-shirt. And you're good to go.
I was Zorro for 1 year. I know you like Zorro.
I also did a Zorro when I was a kid. I never did as an adult, but I should.
I feel like now I'm at that stage of like, I want to buy just like one really good
amazing
costume that I just wear for the rest of my life. And I've gone like on Etsy. I've looked up like the Mandalorian. Like, have you seen these Mandalorian costumes?
Well, I mean, cosplay is huge. Like, yeah, cosplay is huge, right? So you can get like super killer versions.
I found someone on Etsy. There's several on Etsy that do the Mandalorian one. Like, it's so detailed, really realistic. And yeah, it's like
$350, $400, $500.
Oh, I wish. No, dude, these are around like 1,800.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm just like, oh, but it would be great to just like have that and that be it.
And that's it.
But like my wife always is like, oh, this year we should be like,
oh yeah,
some princess and you be the prince, or you know. And I'm like, no, I just want one, and it's a really good one, and that's what I wear.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you.
So
the worry is always that like weight fluctuation as an adult.
True, but like because you just tell them like, hey, add like a little extra there. That way, like in case I do gain weight, then I can open it up on the waist or whatever it is. But yeah, no, that's a good point.
The best costume I ever did, the year Holes came out, all my homeboys and I,
you all dressed up as
we all got these like paint suits that we like orange spray, like we painted these suits to be Holes, and we walked around with shovels, and we were like the whole Holes gang.
That's cool.
And to this day, I haven't watched Holes in a minute.
You know, I was scrolling the other day.
We were talking about the last couple episodes we're gonna do. We need to throw holes in there.
Okay, I'll do holes. That's a good one.
Because it was one of the first books I ever read. That because like I was really difficult. Like growing up in a like dual language like household, it was I think I had a little bit of delay in like wanting to read, like the desire, like feeling comfortable reading. Even still to this day, when I read out loud, I still sometimes struggle because like I don't speaking words out loud in a portion struggles. Like my brain, I like to joke that this is gonna be a longer episode. I'm sorry. This is gonna be long. I like to joke that like I don't know English or Spanish. I just speak them.
You just speak them.
Do you feel the same way? I don't know all you know.
No, I think you're right. I think there are times where like I'm more comfortable in certain aspects in Spanish, and other times just in English. Do you dream in both?
I don't dream,
oh, dude. Okay.
Do you dream in both?
Yeah, I dream in both.
I don't even. When
you don't dream at all.
If I do,
you know, we're gonna do Inception right now instead of. How do you not dream? When did you stop dreaming?
Dude, that's a great question. I don't remember the last, like, if I do dream, it's something I'll have it, but then I don't remember it very well.
Okay.
But most nights, it's like I switch and I switch back on.
Sure. Okay.
But nothing, like my wife actively 2 to 4 times a week will say, I just had I got the most vivid dreams. I had the craziest dreams. I had this dream about this or whatever. Mm-hmm. Nothing, dude.
Nothing, really.
And sometimes I'm like, what is there something wrong with me? Am I just like, is there something happening that I just like, that I'm missing out? Because I mean, like, we're religious people. So like some people get, you know, I know in Hispanic culture, a lot of individuals that I interact with ended up having a lot of their answers that they were seeking via dreams.
Okay.
Right? They get answered, whatever. They're like, oh no, that's what I needed.
Yeah.
No.
See, I don't like life questions that aren't answered in dreams. I just have like whatever. Just kind of dreams. Whatever. Yeah. Last night, man, I had like a I really woke up with this awesome dream. I don't know what it was. It was like a combination of like The Matrix and I don't know, but like I was partnered up with someone. I don't remember who, but there was like a kidnapping and we found who, like we traced them. So I was like kind of like a detective as well.
Okay.
We followed the people. It was like a front for like not this like retired people. They go into those like home care
retirement homes or
retired homes. Yeah. So it was like that, but it was like in New York. So it was like in this awesome skyscraper, and then out of nowhere, like the receptionist knows kung fu, and I'm fighting them, and then like it was
trademark. I'm trademarking this. Please don't steal this idea.
It was just a fun dream. I woke up and I'm like, I miss having kung fu dreams. I have kung fu dreams all the time, man, and I'm just killing it. I'm like the Latino Neo over here, dude. I'm killing it in these dreams, dude. And I was wearing like the suit and everything. I look slick, dude. It was a fun dream. I don't know
how often do you dream.
I'd say about like 4 times a week.
Truly, I think I've only dreamt like something that something vaguely remembered twice in the past year and a half. Maybe once in the past year. In like my late teens, or like, and through like a big chunk of my 20s, I was dreaming nightly and remembering them. Okay, this man, I'm not. I'm here for this conversation. Okay, we're gonna get to screen. I had this whole when I was growing up, my parents my parents separated when I was in high school, but growing up before then, I often knew that they were having conflicts. I vividly remember having these like not quite nightmares, but like these probably nightmares. I just felt like there was stuff happened, and then I would get immensely consumed as if I was getting like compressed by like a giant like a tire that was getting like blown up or whatever. And then I'd wake up and I'd be just like having to like take a deep breath to like breathe because I wasn't breathing. Oh man. And I had this like regularly, Mom, if you're watching, I'm sorry I didn't tell you.
Never told.
I just Latino, just suck it up. Let's vámonos, ándale. And so for many years, that's like the dream that was just like continually would happen.
Okay.
It involved my parents, involved like situations that were happening, and so I think for somehow my brain might have just like said no more. No more dreams for you. You don't remember any more dreams.
I even get like there's a recurring dream that I get every like 4 to 6 months. I hate it, but it's not like the exact same dream. It's the same scenario, and it just the same story, but just like in different, I don't know,
something.
Yeah,
locations or whatever.
And I hate this dream. I wake up stressed every time, but like that, I've had that dream like consistently for like the last 12, 15 years.
Yes, dreams are wild.
Dreams are wild.
All right, well, if you have a dream podcast and you want to like, call us up, let us know.
Or dissect this and let us know what's wrong with us.
please clip this episode and send it to them. Okay, so sorry that went a little bit under a rabbit hole, but if this is what happens sometimes when we're having discussions about movies and things come in the way. So
let's jump into it. Scream, 1996 Scream. I want to start with like what your relationship is with this movie. With this movie / franchise.
So I was still a little kid, baby, probably, like some people consider you a baby, just a little kid. So I didn't watch this at all. My household wasn't a very big scary movie, and I didn't have any older siblings, so it wasn't like, hey, we need to watch this movie. But as I got older, and when Scary Movie, the comedy movie, which ironically this movie was originally titled Scary Movie, later then retitled to Scream, but the comedy Scary Movie came out and it like mocked this movie as like one of those things. Some of my friends did end up going back and watch some of the Scream movies.
Some of the Scream movies, okay.
I don't know why I didn't ever go back and watch some of them, and it wasn't until recently when the Jenna Ortega one version, and I called up my homeboy Sean and was like, we should go, or I think he said, hey, I'm gonna go see Scream, and I'm like, Sean never calls me up to go see a movie, let's go. And we went and saw it, and it was phenomenal. I loved it. People might be like, you started with the end, because it reveals a lot of stuff.
So you started with
the most recent one, the 6.
Okay.
But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I was like, I need to watch this the first one. So we kind of started to watch it. We didn't get to finish it here in the studio, and we're watching it now, and it's been great.
Okay,
I'm excited to talk about it because it's.
And you haven't seen any of the other ones?
I haven't seen any of the other ones.
Okay. I think same situation for me. I was like 7 years old when this movie came out. So not for me. I have older siblings who were like early teens, but like they weren't going to this. But I knew of it. I knew of it, and like my understanding was that it was just like a killer going out and killing high school kids.
Yeah.
I haven't revisited any of these in like my adult. So this is my first time watching it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of these at all, just because like, one, I'm not a big like horror guy. Two, I just feel also like overwhelmed. Like, oh man, this is like almost a 30-year-old franchise. Even though it's only 6 movies, but it's like I need to like set aside some time.
Housekeeping. Sorry, I forgot to tell. Twice in 2 episodes, we've gotten a call. This is what happens when you do a podcast in the middle of the day.
That's true, huh? Yeah, you're right. Never happened at night. Anyway, so yeah, I just have never invested into it. I watched it, loved this movie. Okay, I'm really excited to like see the other ones, but I'm also hesitant to see them just because like I've heard over the years, and like I got on IMDb and I looked at some of the ratings, like they don't have none of them have as high a rating as this first one, and so I just don't want to be like, oh, I love this, and then be disappointed with the other ones. I will get to them though. I
think what you need to do is you need to make sure you temper. You have to come in as a Rubio.
Yeah.
And you just temper yourself going in and enjoy the movie and let it be, and then you come back and take a step back and assess it all. Because I think that a lot of times in a lot of these movies, when they come franchise, people, they have, they have a solid first one, and then people kind of goes on. But I mean, the franchise is still going. It got rebooted, and at least I think they did a great job with the reboot and what they did. That keeps a lot of the things that this first one does so well, which is the meta commentary like thing that we're gonna get into. I wanted to know a couple. Do you have something else?
No, go ahead. I
wanted to just notate something that I really wanted to. Did you feel anything interesting about how the cinematography or like the overall aesthetics of this film? Do you have any like thoughts in that? Because I wanted your opinion. I mean, it's the first time you're watching, so you may not have gone there, but because of this podcast and talking about it more, when I watch stuff, I'm aggressively taking more mental notes about things when I watch them. And so I wanted to get your perspective on like where you landed.
What really stood out to me, especially in that first scene with Drew Barrymore, is just the great use of like close-ups when she's on the phone. I think it's so unique when and I would love for you to talk a little bit more about this, but like when you have a character that's talking over the phone, as an actor, you either have someone on the other line that you're actually talking to bounce off, or you don't. In this case, they did. But how do you capture the tensity for the audience when you're not seeing a character and they're just over the phone, right?
Right.
And I think this movie does really great job whenever Ghostface is killing or talking on the phone to just zoom in and just with a slight, almost not a full like Dutch angle, but just like a slightness to it to make you feel uncomfortable.
This is actually interesting because I actually thought they leveraged the Dutch angle quite a bit in this movie.
Okay.
You like, especially in that, and I do agree that in that opening sequence, they end up doing the Dutch angle. I want to say, I'm gonna rough ballpark. I want to say about 4 to 5 times.
Okay. Yeah.
But I do think that because they end up doing the Dutch angle, it does add to that, especially because it's a one person on screen but 2-person interaction with the phone, someone on the phone, right? And like you said, that like being an individual, you can sometimes go there. I think it also helps you have Drew Barrymore, in the opening sequence, and she just slays it.
Which, again, I've never seen this movie. How she dies?
Like, she just dies in the first.
No, like she's in the poster. Okay, she's the face. She's also like, there's the other poster where like it has her face and it has like each individual character standing, and she's in there, and like again, for someone who hasn't seen this, like she dies. And I'm like, wait, this is the best hidden secret in Hollywood. Like, how did I not know this was like, this is not a spoiler. I love that this wasn't spoiled for me. Cause like when she died, I was like, what? She's dead? Drew Barrymore's dead? I thought she was at least in like, through like number 3.
Dude, this is so good. On the side, we have Sean. He's our scary movie producer of the day. Sean, do you have any insights on that aspect? Any knowledge from that for why Drew Barrymore was killed off so early?
Just that it was just crazy at the time too. You know, I don't know, just a mind blow thing.
Because everyone thought that she was going to be the main star.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sean.
she was a big actress, but not. I mean, this was kind of her low point. This is kind of like her comeback time was during this.
Okay. You didn't.
It was like mind blowing because, like you said, she was in the promotional stuff. So you thought she was the main actress in the movie.
And to this day, I still thought she was I thought she had a big role in it. I love it.
I think this is the perfect example why this movie is fantastic. It does a lot. It's doing a lot of great stuff that, because even in the movie it talks about man, her name just escaped me.
Neb?
No, not they quote her all the time because she's in the scary movies.
From Halloween?
Yes.
I
can't. Why is her name escaping me? She's just in it. She was
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes, Jamie Lee Curtis. They're quoting because she's the big star, and so like you have this like big, female star, or even just like a big star in general, and having Drew Barrymore coming in, getting completely murdered in the first 10 minutes or so of the film, you're like, what?
It's great for many reasons, because Drew Barrymore was kind of like a bigger name here.
Yeah.
And so to leverage a big star and just saying like, boom, she's dead. It also sets the stage for like no one is safe.
Yes.
Right?
I think that is the perfect thing. I want to make a couple other things. So Scream was a hit, staying in theaters for 8 months and grossing over 170 million worldwide for its run. Interesting, the use of caller ID increased following the release of Scream due to the film's plot revolving around threatening phone calls. This is due from a Screen Rant article that I found, which I think is really interesting. The other thing I wanted to note was the fact that this movie was shot on a movie cam compact camera, which is a smaller, more compact film camera. I did not go to quote unquote film school. I got a degree at Weber State for digital media, and it was it got me in a lot of production stuff. But I wasn't doing like the traditional like we're gonna go to film and we're gonna rock out film, which is what a lot of like traditional film degrees go into. This camera has been used in a lot of different films, but because it's smaller and more compact, they also used anamorphics, which in this case, I don't think this camera. Look, I didn't do a huge deep dive, but this camera particularly, I noticed a lot that when they had anamorphics, there was a lot of times where I could feel that it was anamorphic and that it was maybe not, I don't know if it was the ratio squeeze wasn't right or something, but I could feel the warpness in a lot of the different shots that ended up happening that didn't like necessarily take away from me, but I noticed as like a cinematographer, thinking about this film. And why I want to bring this up is because I think that this film brings because shortly after I watched, or right after I watched this movie, and then started to watch a movie that was 2 years older than this, the Vampire Interview with Vampire, super clean, in that perspective, and so having this 2 year difference and feeling like I felt like this movie felt a little bit more, even though it was shot on film, it felt more that beginning age of the more modern era of the like a newer, higher, like this newer feel. It didn't feel as film-esque that some other movies end up having. Yeah. And I don't know if it's about the camera, but for me, that was something that really stood out to me as I was watching this film, that like the aggressive use of anamorphics, the how that impacted the overall characteristics of the shots when you're playing, which I actually do think impacted the intensity of kind of like your scare, because of it adds a little bit of like unusualness to the frames. And so when you added the Dutch angles or the additional, suspense of like where's Ghostface going to pop out of to the plate, helped give that subconscious level for shot choice and for what you're doing for that. If you don't know what anamorphics are, I guess I should just give a quick breakdown. Anamorphics are instead of being circle, they're spherical. And what happens is they end up filming they'll shoot and it's like squished. And so what they have to do is they have to unsqueeze it so that it's super wide. And that's where you get often like the blue lens flares. You get it a little bit here. It's not aggressive. Like I think they tried to control that in some of the, but you do see it in some of the shots. And it's a very stylistic choice. It's a very quote unquote, I hate this term, but the quote unquote cinematic. It's because it gives, for me, I think it's the wide aspect ratio, some of the like unique characteristics to a shot that makes it feel more movie-esque, or, for that thing.
That's interesting. I'm curious to see how much, and I need to go back and revisit like A Nightmare on Elm Street and see if that's something that Wes Craven has relied on or really leaned into. But no, that's a great call out. I'd be curious to kind of revisit more of his movies and see how much he's leveraged more of that technique.
Yeah, that's just something that I noticed here. That I wanted to point out, that I just technical stuff that I just thought was fun. But I do think that it's also a little fun the fact that the color ID was, I don't know if it was 100% like set in stone by then, or if this movie helped to like solidify
color ID.
Color ID.
Okay, so real quick premise. So this movie takes place a year after the murder of Sydney's mom. Yeah, Sydney's mom.
Correct.
So a year later, she is now being terrorized by a mass killer who is targeting her friends through the use of like scary movies and like creepy games.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the premise of this movie. I kind of want to jump into like like the characters, specifically like that first scene. What is it? We've talked a little bit about like Drew Barrymore, right? But like, why is that first scene so memorable? And like, what impact does it have like on the rest of the movie, on the characters, on the audience as us watching it? Like, why is it so iconic?
It's a good question. I think there's two factors that come into play. One, we don't. There's no like build up.
Yeah.
There's not like everything's okay and then something completely right. We get right to the meat and potatoes of this is things are not going well for this for what's happening.
Yeah.
So we're straight to the murder. There's a suspenseful call up, cat and mouse with the phone call, which Drew Barrymore and the voice of the killer is actually Roger Jackson.
Roger Jackson.
Roger L. Jackson, who is you know what else he's done? Done voiceover for.
He's done a lot of voiceover for like cartoons and like video games, right?
Yeah, the
like,
Powerpuff Girls is the biggest one. He's kind of known for Mojo Jojo.
Mojo Jojo. I hate Mojo Jojo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, but the voice is phenomenal, right? And so, for me, I think that you have the voice there. Then they also tie in the fact that like, let's play a game of scary movies.
This is the first time that I don't know, but like that I can remember where a horror movie acknowledges that there are horror movies
Correct.
in universe, right?
Yeah, I think so. And then on top of that, you have that like it's not about the like straight killing.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the game.
Yeah.
It's about the scare. It's about the suspense of like, like setting up what's going to happen. Is that the introduction of the boyfriend? How do they know about the boyfriend? There's all these little things that like start to have this impact that like, I think then sets the tone because after, and the fact that Drew Barrymore gets murdered, strung up on the thing is just
With her guts.
It's wild. Okay. But then I think it helps then motivate it just gives that motivation for the rest of who's gonna get killed next.
Yeah.
Also, who is the killer? Right? Mm-hmm. We have assumptions of different things, and then on top of that, the introduction of the aggressive news culture, which
so 90s. I feel like
so
90s or like a reporter's like trying to write a book to like become famous, right? There's so many ways nowadays where you can become famous, but like 90s to be like that reporter who's like, I'm gonna write a book about it.
Okay, can I just tell you, I have worked in news.
Uh-huh.
Nowhere, this I don't know if this helped to make people like, oh, you know what? I don't know if this ever launched anyone's desire to want to become a news reporter. This is not. I mean, obviously in the 90s, maybe you'd get definitely a lot more stations because you didn't have the internet, so you didn't have a lot of people. People only news people were at locations. Mm-hmm. Look, it's not how it is. News people. I kind of miss a little bit that news isn't like this anymore. But also like, I don't know what's worse. Are the news that we have now, or this news that we have where everyone's trying to write a book.
I love it. No, I'm glad that you bring up like this cat and mouse play between the two characters, right? But the element of like the game aspect of it, for me, I'm watching it, and when he asks, right, the question of who's the villain in Halloween, right? And like as a warm-up question.
Yeah.
Right? And I, as an audience, I'm like, oh, that's Michael Myers, right? And she says Michael. And he's like, good job, Casey. And then he's like, who's the killer in Friday the 13th? And so you're thinking, I answered wrong as I'm watching it. She answers wrong, and therefore Steve, the boyfriend, dies, right?
Yeah.
I love that because it invites me as a viewer into it. It
Yeah.
invites me and it allows me to experience to a degree what Casey here is going through.
Yeah.
So I love that aspect, and it sets the tone for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Because one, there's going to be some kind of like, and for me, again, I'm watching it almost 30 years after it came out. So for me, I didn't really jump. I didn't have like the jump scares. They didn't really get to me.
No, me neither.
I found myself laughing more. And even though it's not a comedy,
No.
right? There's satire to it.
Yes.
But like, I found myself laughing more, especially just the voice of Ghostface. Like, answer, I'll get you like a fish. Like, it's so good. I just love it. It's so funny. And then as we know, like, by the way, like full spoilers ahead, but like, as we know later that it's just like one of these two teenage kids, it just makes sense. Like watching that.
Going into it, did you feel like it was one or two killers when you were watching it?
At first I was like, I think like I think like 40 minutes in, I'm like, it has to be two people. I for sure knew that Billy had to be.
Look, Billy. From the character, your decision to cast a character or actor into a role is so critical.
Yeah.
And can really solidify and really take home movies. And I don't talk about this very often, but I think for whatever reason, this movie made me just truly appreciate everyone who has to go through that process. It's hard
Yeah.
for actors because it's a laborious project. You're sending all these tapes, or you have to go in person and you have to read these lines, and it's like you don't really know, you don't have any direction. They're just asking you to like perform. There might be a little bit of feedback here and there, and then you have to go back and you have to wait and you have to figure out if you're gonna get called. And I don't Neve, is this her first?
She was in the infamous Party of Five sitcom. I guess it wasn't a sitcom.
Yeah.
I was too young to watch.
Yeah.
No, it didn't interest me. But I know that was like her big debut, Party of Five.
So I mean, a lot of these characters, I think they would probably be brought in maybe first time on like big screen to some factor.
Courtney Cox, I think this was between season 2 and season 3 of Friends.
Yeah.
When she filmed this.
So I mean, and so like for me, a lot of that has you go into that aspect like. And for horror films, sometimes you do get some addition, like newer people because they don't have the budget to be able to like nail out bigger ones or whatever it might be. For me, Billy Loomis and his buddy who's the like obnoxious. Stewart.
Dude.
Wait, Stewart, you're right. Yeah.
Matthew Lillard's character.
Matthew Lillard. Okay, look.
Oh my gosh. I love Matthew in this movie. Holy cow.
Dude, Matthew Lillard has been in several shows that I've seen, movies, maybe shows, or a little bit of both, that he plays this type of character.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. No, I think I'm right.
So Matthew Lillard has been very vocal about how like he came out of this movie and he's like, great, I'm going to be like, it was a hit. I'm going to be super huge. Whatever, and like his career kind of hit a bit of a. You can blame it on Scooby-Doo, but like he struggled, right? And he's done like he did Scooby-Doo. He's done a lot of like voice acting. He was in Twin Peaks. I believe.
He was in Twin Peaks.
But like he's talked about like how he struggled after this, and for whatever reason, it just I don't know. He just didn't hit, but I want more. And I'm gonna say this, and maybe Sean can kind of give a little bit of context. Again, I haven't seen any of the sequels, but if Matthew Lillard is not in the sequels, I am going to be so upset. I've heard that in the third one, either the third or it was the third one, there was like a big murder scene at a school, he was supposed to be the killer, but it happened like right before the Columbine shooting, and so like they scrapped a lot and they scrapped his character. But all I'm saying is like if he's not in any more sequels, like I don't want it. I want more of Stewart. Oh, Stewart. He was just what a character.
Dude, his character is literally he turned it to 12. Dude.
But even like earlier, like just Matthew Lillard's like facial like his the way he moves, just like his face, like the frowning and like his eyes, and just like when he's mocking when right the scene after when they're at school. And they're like, oh, did they ask you if you like hunting?
Yeah.
Oh no, they didn't ask me. Oh, it's because it takes a man to kill.
I know.
Like just his facial expressions. He's just so good. I love it.
His excessive tongue, his sticking out of his tongue, the way he just
those last like 40 minutes when they're at his house, right? And he's hosting and he's going back and forth between being the killer and like to the very end when like they stab each other. Dude, you stabbed me too deep, man.
Dude, I think I'm dying. I think I'm dying here, man.
What? And
my
like
favorite
the
line,
motive,
dude,
right? The motive. I don't know, peer pressure. Like he's just like this. I love it.
My favorite line. Oh man, did you really call the cops? Yeah. Oh man, my mom and dad are gonna be so pissed.
Oh, he's so good.
Look, this movie, the fact that this movie takes it does, and then you have Billy Loomis, this greasy haired
Johnny Depp lookalike. Very intentionally Johnny Depp lookalike.
Eventually, and not only that, but like there's something about Billy or the who's Skeet. His eyes in this film are some of the. They just give me the Ghiblies.
That's what gave it away. But like, great job.
That's the thing. Like the whole casting situation. I feel like nailed it.
Yeah, his approach to the Billy character, who you know, they joke in the movie like, what's the motive when they're in the scene in the blockbuster?
Yeah.
And what's his name? Jamie Kennedy's characters is like there doesn't need, like it's a millennium, like there's no need for a motive, right? But as we later find out, like the reason why, like he just turns it up a notch towards that end scene. It just like goes off on Sydney's mom and like all aspects of it, like him becoming like the real motive and how he explains it. Like he just delivers it so well. But in the quieter moments when he's just with Sydney and he's just the look in his eyes and just the creepiness of it.
The creepiness, dude. And I mean, you like from the like you. The dynamics between the characters are great.
Yeah.
But between Nev and Skeet, every time it just is so, it hits hard. So you're just like, dude, this guy's the killer.
Yeah.
He's a creep and he's coming after situation. But I truly loved, to me, because the motive. Because you always, you know, what is the motive? What's there? And I love that, like, we don't know, but we have the payoff. I don't know, the setups with the story of the mom.
Yeah.
And Courtney Cox's character playing such a strong female character, despite being a dick.
Yeah. Huge dick.
Just out for herself.
That when she got punched, I was like, yeah, you deserve that. Yeah, get it.
Yeah. For it to then pay off, I think is a beautiful thing.
It's so good. And I'm glad that you bring up Neve Campbell, because she brings such a humanity to her character, right? Again, and we're talking in this movie where it's very much, we'll get to it, it's very much self-aware of what it is.
Yes.
There's so much meta elements to it. And I love the scene when she first gets the call And do you like scary movies? No, I don't. Why? Because like the character's always running out. What did you say? Up the stairs when she should be running out the door.
Yeah.
And sure enough, like that's what happens to her, right? She tries running out the door, but she can't. So then now she has to run up the stairs. And so just like the humanity and the sincerity that she brings, but also just like the fierceness. Like she takes out Ghostface like several times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Granted, we know that there are a bunch of idiots that are behind that mask. So like, of course she should be able to. But like, I just love her approach to the character. This genuine sincereness to it. That I was thinking like who else could have done that role, and whether it was Drew Barrymore or not, but like Neve Campbell does a phenomenal job with it.
One, let's just be stated, these kids do not look like they're in high school. Okay, I want to state that for a fact. Okay,
yeah.
But it is what it is. This is the 90s. Okay,
yeah.
But this feeling of it being in high school and having to deal with this impact, it's just, and the lightheartedness of it, it feels absolutely absurd. But Neve Campbell always feels like she does bring it down to earth a little bit,
Yeah.
which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're saying here. And I just want to reiterate that, like, I know, like, she's in other movies, but I don't think she's in the last, or I know for the fact she's on the last one. But which is tragic because she does bring such she's such a strong actress for what she does.
Yeah.
Right. If you haven't seen it, definitely check her out in The Lincoln Lawyer. She's also in that, and she plays also a strong female character in that.
I just barely saw her in Twisted Metal.
Oh, she's in Twisted Metal?
In Twisted Metal. I didn't know until like I was watching. I'm like, hey, that's a Scream girl.
Yeah.
Even because I hadn't seen Scream up to this point, but yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go check that out. It's no matter what. I know
And she's great in it. She is in it maybe for like a total of like 20 minutes in the whole season.
but she nails it.
But she nails it. She's great.
That's so good.
I look, very briefly, let's talk David Arquette. The character of Dewey. He's just off. Like he's just
I don't understand. I don't understand what is happening with his character.
I think he's the one character that just does not hit for me. Like he's just like, and I know that at one point they tried to even like make him like when Sydney's at her friend's house, right? And like she gets a call, and then the mom is calling for Dewey, and then they hang up, and then he comes out and he looks at the camera at the phone, right? It's like, no, this guy's too dumb to be a killer. Like there's no way. I am curious to see how his character grows in later movies.
Okay.
But I just did not like it. He's
Dude,
just too dumb.
every single time Dewey came, I almost felt like I lost it. I like, it almost broke it for me.
He has a line where he's flirting with Courtney Cox's character, where she says like,
Is it flirting? Is that what that was?
No, there's this one line where she says like, "Oh, my demographic was like between
This
the
is
ages
the line I
like
wanted to read
16 to 25, right, or something like 18 to 25."
Dude, it wasn't even. It was like 11. Like it was like 12. To,
Yeah, 12 to like
24.
25. But then he turns around, he walks into it, and he's like, "I'm a fan. I was 24 for a whole year," or something like that, right? And I'm like, that is too smooth of a line for this character to say. Like, no way. He goes from an idiot to like this slick.
No, it wasn't even. It wasn't. I don't feel like it was slick. It was like the cheesiest, the most. He was trying to. It was trying too hard, in my opinion. And maybe what it was for me was just the way that Dewey's character played out. The dunce. A dunce as the police officer. The other when his sister. What's the sister's name? She's got a weird name in the script. Tatum.
Yeah.
Sorry, Channing.
Sorry, Channing.
For some reason, I thought it was. Anyways, Tatum. My favorite. Dewey. We're just. But when he's like, "Mom told you have to respect me like a man in here in the studio," to me, I'm just like,
when I'm wearing the badge, I'm deputy.
oh, right? I just, and she like just demolishes him in the thing. Also. Okay, sorry, we're in the police. I'm talking about, this is the what other little quirk, not the quirk, but one of those silly things where like how are the police not more aggressively like trying to figure things out? I mean, they got Billy, who they think might be it, but literally two people have been one person has been brutally, or two people have been dismembered, not dismembered, like gutted.
I'll gut you like a fish. I just love that line. I don't know why the way he delivers it. Anyways, please put it right here.
And then you have another a scare with Nev, and then she goes to the police, right? And like they're just like, chill. I know. Look, this is Scream. It's a meta scary movie situation. All I'm saying is like I have beef with this police situation.
Or the fact that a deputy drives two kids who are clearly being targeted by the killer to a party.
After telling his, hey, don't leave them out of your sight.
Don't leave her out of your sight, right? Of course.
And then tries to play it off cool with a reporter who goes into the party.
Yeah.
And isn't even thinking about the idea that like these are all underage. Are you gonna like actually crack down on this? She's all along for the ride.
Yeah. There's your story right here. A cop allowing underage.
Breaking news tonight. We are at a live teen party where police officers are driving teens to the scene.
There you go.
What does that tell you about the security of this town?
Oh,
our parents, just like tomorrow at 6 p.m. catch our exclusive interview.
My headcanon is that this is middle of nowhere, like wine country in California.
Seriously though, the houses in this movie,
to the point the parents are always drunk. Like that's why all the adults are idiots here, because it's wine country and everyone's always just like wasted.
It's a good kind of canon.
Okay, let's talk about the meta approach to this.
Let's do it.
So, I mean, Scream, it's well known for its self-awareness. I want to talk like, what are some examples for you that you enjoyed where the film acknowledges its horror movie tropes? And not just that, like, what are some of those examples? We've talked lightly on them, but like, how did this meta approach to it change the way not only you perceive horror movies, but like maybe the way you perceive this movie?
Good question. So one, I love the scene in the Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Where
Jamie Kennedy's character, right?
Yeah.
What's his name?
I was just looking him up because I can't remember.
Randy.
Randy, baby. No, Randy gives a breakdown. One, I also love that, like, he's been fired from the movie theater or movie store twice.
Proudly says it twice.
I know. But he gives a breakdown that he one, I love that they recognize that the scary movie situation, right? Mm-hmm. I love that Neve says, "Oh, big-breasted, running away," like you said. Running instead of running out the door, running up the stairs. Then with this Blockbuster scene, who should have been the killer, and him breaking down the things. The next thing, talking about the rules, right? The rules at the party before people like a ton of people get murdered, right? To me, and then the not some again, these are some things we talked about, but the non-motive for me, some of those things are some of the like the best portions of it that helps start to like add that meta character.
Yeah,
and it's commentating on the thing that we all commentate on. Like prior to this situation, scary movies, you have a scary movie, things happen, and people are talking about these things like you can't watch a scary movie because, and having these like rules for when you watch a scary movie. Oh, you know, the token black guy, or the you know, like this person's gonna get killed off first, or you know, like these things that talked about outside of the movie, and having that being brought into a scary movie or into this thriller is beautiful. And it's not about the murder. It's a whodunit, and it's just so great.
I love that scene in the video store. I love also when they're watching Halloween, right?
Yes.
At the house, and he is more, Randy's character is more infatuated by watching a movie than like partying.
Yeah.
And that's when he lists out his rules, right?
Right.
I love that because as he's listing out the rules, then the events are happening in the movie.
Yes.
Right? And it's such a fun, unique approach to it that like I mentioned earlier, like I don't think this movie, like I was ever like spooked out. I think I was probably more spooked out by last week's No One Will Save You than this, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's because of its self-awareness and what it's trying to say. And so this movie was produced by the Weinstein brothers. I made a face.
Yeah, if you're listening to only audio, like Michelle gave a great anecdote. He's like preface face to the fact that this is
it's a Weinstein production. But the Harvey, the other one, apparently, so they had asked, they wanted either Sam Raimi.
Yeah, I was going to bring this up.
Or George Romero.
Yes.
To be directors for it. But they didn't quite get it, right? They thought it was too much of a comedy. I would still love to like see a Sam Raimi version of this.
Dude, I was going to ask you this question because I was like, do you think how different of a feel would it have been if Raimi...
It would have been a lot funnier.
You think Raimi would have made it a lot funnier?
Raimi would have made it funnier. He would have added his cool like signature shots and his weird like use of camera movement, but like it would have been funnier, I think.
Okay.
But I would still love to see that someday.
Yeah.
But like again, this use of like satire to make itself so self-aware, it is so unique and such a great approach to horror.
Wes Craven actually initially passed on this film.
Yeah.
As well. Why do you feel like Wes Craven's style still helped this film be as successful as it was?
I think he brings such a unique approach to horror. Even like with A Nightmare on Elm Street, he brings such fear to these characters, to his villains, right? Yeah, Freddy Krueger is creepy just because of the aesthetic, but because of the motives, I think, is what makes him really iconic. Yeah, his aesthetic, his hands, whatever, but like his approach to the horror villain is what's so unique. And going back to what I was saying earlier, we're introduced to Ghostface via phone call. And I think this is where a Sam Raimi would have made it a bit too comedic. Whereas a Wes Craven approaches it with like, yeah, no, there's comedic elements to this, but it's a satire on horror. And the horror elements are going to be very horrific.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's the value that Wes Craven brought to this.
I think you give a great perspective. I wondered, do you feel that, I mean, we watch this at a time where I feel like this movie has influenced a lot of movies now.
Yeah.
Not only movies, but like how scary movies are done, how like they approach scary movies. Is Ghostface scary enough of a character? If you're someone who's going to watch this for the first time now.
As someone who watched it for the first time,
you said it already. Like there wasn't a lot of jump scares.
No,
but I mean, we have been watching, like a lot of the movies, so there's a little bit of that.
Sure,
but yeah, I mean, like, is it scary enough now? Does it have to be scary? Does Ghostface have to ever be like as terrifying as a Michael Myers or
no,
Jason?
Yeah, no. And I think again from this movie. Yeah, Billy and Stuart are a bunch of weirdos, and Stuart a sociopath, but like whatever, falls into peer pressure. But
my parents are gonna be so mad.
So good. But like I don't think so. And this is kind of where I also want to get to this, but like my fear as I continue on my Scream journey is that a movie that is so self-aware and and is good at the satire, at making fun of the satire that it's making fun of, horror, after 30 years, almost 30 years of this franchise, I worry that it's going to become the thing that it's making fun of. Again, I haven't seen them, so comment below. Sean over here probably has lots of opinions on this, but that's my fear on this, is that it's not so much. Yeah, I hope Matthew Lillard's in more of these. I hope that I'm hoping that it doesn't become the thing that it is making fun of. And I feel like when you have 30 years, 6 movies, and you started off as a satire of horror movies,
it'd be hard to. You feel like it may be hard to keep it strong.
Keep it strong.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I'm not gonna comment on what my thoughts, because I want.
Yeah.
We'll get there. I did want to make a comment on the fact that, like, this is not about the villain. Ghostface, the line. There's a line early in the movie. Hey, every cosmetic store, every dime store across the county has these costumes. The idea is that, like, anyone can be the killer.
Yeah.
Right. It's setting this up as the trope, as the thing that, like, and I think it's a great perspective. Like, we have a scene where someone with the ghost face runs down the hall screaming, like a crazy person.
Yeah.
After people just got murdered with selectively, right? Like, this thing being it, which is actually funny because I recently watched Did you watch Total Killer?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, well, I'm gonna. There's also a costume in that movie, and it's more of a whodunit. And this one has, super basic generic costume trailer set up that then becomes like a pop culture thing for this town, where everyone wants to learn about this killer for this town. And every Halloween, people dress up as this character.
Okay.
Okay, so, like, it's just like, oh, another person that is going to dress up as a killer. As a killer, right? And to me, it's a wonderful thing. It goes with the whole like theme of this our spooky, scary movies. Of, it's not actually about the scary. It's not about the scare.
Yeah.
It's about the commentary that they're providing via the medium
of horror.
Of horror. How is this movie providing that with the commentary of being a horror movie? What is it telling us about society, about the genre, and the overall feelings for us?
Here's what I immediately thought. The characters, right? You have the students who are wearing the ghost face, are running around, they're mocking the principal, which we didn't talk a lot about, Harry Winkler.
What a creep.
Yeah. Just their almost relaxed approach to a murder, right? They've become desensitized. At this point in the 90s, horror movies we as a society had become desensitized to horror.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't really care for them. The movie right before Wes Craven did this one was Wes Craven's New Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Which got torn apart. We weren't wanting horror movies.
Yeah.
We had become desensitized, or just become chilled and like a chill, relaxed approach to them. So I think the movie's doing that so well that the characters themselves are just like, whatever, just talking so casually about these murders, these deaths, getting gutted and whatnot. But then,
I'm gonna cut you like a fish.
I'm gonna cut you like a fish. But then, like, then it gets serious, right? For them, especially those last like 40 minutes. And that's what the movie then does. This movie in society then allows scary movies to be taken, not serious, but like to be a genre that will have big box office numbers.
I love you. I feel, look, say what you will. Once you're going to go through the Scream series. I'm going to go through the Scream series. Sean is, I think from what I've gathered from and watching these films and the latest franchise, the most recent one, these movies help to give the reset for other scary movies to be able to understand. I think without this, we wouldn't end up getting Saw.
We wouldn't be getting Saw. I mean, we would also be like, shortly after this, 2-3 years later, we had the found footage genre, right? We had the Blair Witches, all these other ones that came out after, right? And I think this movie really, again, just revolutionized the way we look at horror as not just a killer that's out murdering people, just a slasher, but the context that's in there, the depth that there can be in characters. And then it sparked all these different takes on horror.
Not only that, but then the unwavering stronghold of the true crime genre.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, I don't, like, I think that because of the, like, perspective of commentary on the scary movie trope, people then, if, it starts to gravitate the fact that, like, this idea of true crime and how absurd true crime really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, we now live in an era where, if not most people that you talk to have 1 to 4 true crime podcasts in their playlists / watching true crime content on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
In whatever aspect you might be going for.
You're absolutely right. And these are two individuals that took their love of horror movies to an extreme. Curious, are any of the sequels, at least the newer ones with the soft reboot, did they rely a lot on, like, murder podcasts? It has to. There has to be a satire on it, right?
I can't remember. I don't know what the last one, the most recent one, wasn't.
We live in such a time where, like you said, everyone is listening to at least like 2-3 murder podcasts.
Yeah.
That at least the new ones have to take a satire on it.
Watch the Halloween reboot. Have you?
No, does that one do it?
Well, so there is.
Yeah.
They do go into that a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
It kind of starts with
A
podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Totally Killer does.
Totally Killer. That's
Totally. The I won't spoil it because I want you to watch it.
Yeah.
But there is a podcast that is about this killer and these murders, and it plays a role.
Okay.
And so does reporting playing a role in this story. So I think I honestly feel like, actually, man, now I'm thinking about it, like, I really want to have, because, like, I think Totally Killer is kind of a revamp of this style of, like, a commentary whodunit trope, but with a Back to the Future spin on it.
With the Back to the Future spin on it.
Now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm like just.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it.
You should watch it. We maybe, I don't know if we'll do it as an exclusive episode for the Patreon.
Okay.
Because it truly is. It's like, it'd be great to compare them and contrast.
Yeah.
Even though this does it better as a team. Like, this movie, team whole, altogether does it better.
Yeah.
But Totally Killer, still pretty phenomenal.
Last question. Okay, so we've done a whole month of, like, horror movies.
Yeah.
If you could have, like, one takeaway of horror, what is it? As a viewer, as a filmmaker, what is your one takeaway on the genre? On the thriller, horror, spooky genre?
Wow. Whoa. What is my one takeaway for this season of the horror genre?
Yeah. I'll start off with mine.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. You can go with yours.
And I think you touched on it, but it's the character study, right? I think to just have a killer just for killer's sake isn't enough. And yeah, I'm not saying like the Halloween's movies or the Nightmare on Elm Street movies don't have that, but when you are primarily telling a story about an individual or a social commentary like we did, or specific like faith, finding your faith, I think that is what makes a really good, captivating horror story. Even in this point, like here, the main point was a satire on its own genre, right? That to me is what I'm taking away. Like if you are going to do a horror movie, or if you're going to enjoy a horror movie, for me, I'll enjoy the ones that have more commentary on a character study, on a social commentary, or just on a specific, really unique theme.
See, I was gonna say that if you're gonna do horror, it's not about the scare. It's not about. I mean, it can be about the scare, but like you're leveraging There's something more than the scare and the fear. Mm-hmm. That's what I think. I got to, like, if you're gonna do a scary movie, like as a first time filmmaker, or you want to go into the genre, you can't make it about, I'm gonna make the scariest thing, or I'm gonna have I'm gonna have like crazy blood whatever. It's got to be you have to be connected to some sense of humanity, to provide you the anchor to help add the fear. Because if you only make it about the one character, or the whatever, not that it isn't going to be a good time. I just think that it'll be one that you see as like a B movie or whatever, and it just, oh yeah, that was an interesting monster or whatever. Yeah. But like, you're not going to come back and people aren't going to share it. They're not going to make it. It's not going to be a thing. Because like if you go on like any streaming platform, that for a while I didn't never unless Amazon came out with an original, I would never go to Amazon, because they would put all sorts of garbage.
Yeah, so much.
Absolute garbage. I shouldn't say that. I want anybody who's made a film is worthy of congratulations. But also how it got on streaming and people end up watching it is a whole nother story. Because I think now they're big, they know the whole process thing over there. But there's so many movies out there that like, or even Redbox. You go to a Redbox nowadays,
so much like B- movies, like just
dude, like a D minus that you go like, it's like the same trope of some other movie that just done worse.
It's a Kevin Sorbo trope of another Kevin Sorbo movie.
but that's Sorbo. And so like, to me, like, if you're gonna do it, take a time and ask yourself hard questions.
Yeah,
ask yourself hard questions. Is there like we learned in science, is there a linchpin moment that you can understand, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to provide commentary to a perspective? Is there a bigger message here that we need to understand, that plays a factor into why this is so hard, like not having enough communication, mm-hmm. right? It can't be about the thing. You just leverage that as the vehicle to cause the tension and the struggle for the characters for the story.
I love that. Great takeaway. This has been a great month of thrillers.
I'm excited.
We picked some good movies.
We did, and I'm excited for next year to go down more of maybe some of the other like spookier stuff, traditional stuff. Having this set space point for us.
Yeah.
We picked some ones that were a little bit like, that were in the Halloween-y spirit, and hope that next year when we come to this time frame, we can really dive into having a better foundation and understanding and appreciation for the genre, and give better insights to those movies.
Great month of scary movies. We really hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we would love it if you could subscribe on whatever platform you get your podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave a review. It really helps us get discovered, and it lets us also know what we can improve on.
We'd love to know what you thought of Scream down either in the comments on YouTube or by emailing us at reelchums.com. Follow us on social at Reel Chums, wherever you get, you like to live. We're probably doing something there. And you can find me personally at Rubio_TV or .tv on social.
And you can find me on Twitter at Marstrosity, MARZTROSITY.
Just a reminder, we will be going on a break from posting regularly like new content to this. We will be doing revisiting some of the other episodes that we feel like should be revisited in this small break. But we'll be hard at work getting ready for the launch and the content, exclusive content for our Patreon. So if you are someone who wants to do that, we'll probably have some sort of sign up sheet in the description for you to get notified when we do launch that. Because we got some really great stuff planning.
Yeah.
We really do want to make this a place where you guys feel like you're part of the conversation and part of our community, because this is why part of the reason why we started this podcast.
Yeah. And that won't be happening until we'll go on break in December, and we'll be back in January.
Correct. But next week, we watch the movie Oblivion, a 2013 movie with Tom Cruise.
Can you believe it's been 10 years already for this movie? More than 10. I mean, it came out in like April.
I heard a rumor that they want to revisit it.
I hope not. Actually, I have thoughts.
We'll talk about those thoughts next week.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye.